Welcome back. Right now, there is a lot happening, obviously, in our nation's capital, and what's happening there will impact all of us across the country. Joining us now, U.S. Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon. Senator Wyden, you're operating on 38 hours without sleep. I don't even understand how you're here. I know the vote in the Senate for this tax reform bill, the GOP's tax reform bill, passed in the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah, I just thought it was really important to be home. I'm the ranking Democrat on the Finance Committee managing the bill, and the reason I wanted to be home, I had a town meeting in Malala, is to listen to folks because this bill is really a poor fit for Oregon. It's kind of like wearing a tuxedo to the beach. I mean, the fact is that it is particularly hard on states like ours, which have high state and local taxes, and then you have the corresponding reductions in those taxes at the local level. You could have many Oregonians paying thousands and thousands of dollars more.
But the Republicans and President Trump himself are celebrating this as a victory, saying this is a win for middle-class Americans. You don't see it that way?
Well, what it is a double standard. The fact is, for the multinational corporations, their breaks are permanent. For the middle class, their breaks are temporary. And in terms of the numbers, it's not even close. What the numbers show is that by 2027, well over half of the middle class is going to be paying more in taxes. Certainly people who make under $75,000.
Under $75,000. So what will you and the rest of the Democrats be doing in this next phase? I mean, is this a done deal at this point, or is there anything to be done to knock this bill out?
I intend to push back at every stage in terms of trying to get a fair shake for middle-class folks. I'm sure you have a lot of viewers who are concerned about whether they'll be able to keep the medical deduction. A lot of students paying attention to this. In the House bill, for example, they take away the opportunity for students to write off the interest costs on debt. I mean, it just seems to me in a lot of respects to be a big con job on the middle class. I mean, this was supposed to be the year of the working person, when the working person would have a powerful new voice. What it's been is the year for the special interests and the lobbyists.
Speaking of lobbyists, we're watching what's happening with Mike Flynn now in the investigation as he's pleading guilty. How do you see that investigation moving forward now? Is Robert Mueller just closing in on the even higher positions in the Trump administration and even President Trump himself?
He's certainly building a very strong case. I mean, you look at the Manafort agreement. There was so much detail. Mr. Manafort is not going to be able to sweep all that under those very expensive rugs that he was buying. And you look at the Flynn agreement, it certainly points to the prospect of involvement with very high officials in the Trump organization.
And you're also here in town for a set of town halls, like you were saying, this weekend. You're getting some kind of distinction regarding town halls as the senator hosts the most town halls in the country, I guess, this year. Why are town halls so important to you, and what has surprised you the most about them?
You can't do your job right if you're just sitting behind your desk in Washington, D.C. and trying to guess what's on people's mind. And I just felt this year there is just unprecedented interest in terms of the issues, and I thought it was my job to provide unprecedented access, and I really appreciate the fact that this group's called the Town Hall Project. It's a nonprofit just to encourage civic participation. It's really a compliment to the people of Oregon because we feel so strongly about participating at the grassroots level. It's kind of like what the Founding Fathers had in mind.
Well, and speaking of participation, I have to ask this because I was posing the question to viewers, what would you like me to ask the senator? And for some reason, there is a pervasive thought still. People want to know whether you actually live in Oregon. There is this thought out there that you spend more time in New York than you do in Oregon. Why is that still out there? And can you clear that up for once and for all? Do you spend more time on the East Coast than you do in Oregon?
There's no question. I spend my time going back and forth between Oregon and Washington, D.C. You couldn't have 80 town hall meetings if you weren't spending a lot of time at home. And you bet I live in Southeast Portland over by Reed College.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to add about this year under President Trump? We've now marked a year with him as president. Is there anything that he has done in the last year that you approve of, that you champion?
Well, I'm working closely with them, for example, in terms of a new policy to prevent fire. You know, we've had these horrendous fires, and the government has a policy that just defies common sense. We basically short the prevention fund, then we have these big infernos, and We borrow from the prevention fund and the problem gets worse, just trying to put them out. So I have a bipartisan bill with Senator Mike Crapo. I'm working very closely with the Trump administration, the Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue. So what I do is I call them like I see them. I'm interested in solutions, and I'll work with anybody who's got good ideas.
You've been in the Senate for some time now. You're one of the senior senators there representing Oregon. How can you describe what the climate there is now versus how it was when you first began?
Well, first of all, you've got to keep it in perspective. My older child says I'm in the only profession on earth where somebody my age is still one of the young guys, because there are like 20 senators plus that are older than me. What has happened, though, and it's one of the reasons I do these town hall meetings to kind of promote what I call the Oregon way, just good, practical solutions. We had Tom McCall, he was a Republican, Wayne Morris, he was a Democrat, and I like to try to stay away from some of the polarizing aspects of what goes on in Washington, D.C. I'll work with anybody who's got a good idea, and I think that's why we've always seen ourselves as having fresh, innovative approaches and leading.
And yet, I mean, you can't help but ignore the fact that, or you can't help but acknowledge that there is this general disgust with Washington, D.C. and the way things have gone. I think some of the questions that viewers had for you, maybe some of them sarcastically and maybe some in earnest, they want to know if you have plans to retire.
Well, what I can say is I think I've been given a tremendous honor. I really wanted growing up to play in the NBA, and it was kind of ridiculous because I was too small, and I made up for it by being slow. So I got involved working with the elderly, and that was a tremendous opportunity because back then if a town had a meal program for seniors, that was a big deal. So I'm just going to take it one step at a time, and I think I've been so fortunate to be able to be involved in public service with Oregon.
Circling back briefly to the tax reform bill that was just passed, as it moves now into this stage where the Senate and the House meet together and make the changes. What is the deal breaker for you? There are probably many, but what are the things that you want to highlight? And what can people do? Like, there are Democrats who have been reaching out saying, well, they're already calling the senators, but they feel like they're preaching to the choir. So there are people who are asking what can they do beyond reaching out to their locally elected officials.
My guess is that this is going to be a pretty short conference between the House and the Senate. And what I'm going to do is be weighing in as aggressively as I can on the questions for the middle class. I want to protect the medical deductions, particularly for people who are pre-Medicare between 55 and 65. That is just a lifeline. I want to protect our students. I don't want to see them. They've already, with a lot of working class families, racked up all this debt. I don't want to see them lose that ability to write off the interest. So I'm going to be focused on the middle class questions and trying to put more money in their pocket and not just helping out political donors and super lobbyists.
Well, and there are questions too about how this bill was passed. 476 pages in an amendment that came just 5 hours before the vote with handwritten notes that may or may not have been legible. Is that unusual?
This process was a sham. I mean, there is no other way to describe it. I managed the bill. I was on the floor for something like 12 hours for the process, and I can tell you I've never seen anything like that. Around 8 o'clock or thereabouts, we were given a bill that was well over 400 pages. Things were written in the margins. We found something. Senator Merkley and I worked very closely on this outrageous tax break that went for just one particular school. I can't recall anybody doing something like that. We finally got it knocked out with Senator Merkley's amendment, which I worked with him on. I mean, this process was a sham.
All right.